What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and first official video without the hat, because I just gotta accept this is my hair for a little while till it grows back. So this is what it looks like now. I miss my hair. Anyway, so 1-1 draw at Mexico. Definitely not the best possible result, but a really good result for the performance that we put in. Just it was a good overall performance. A lot of players played well. It was it was really shocking kind of to see, I guess, the Venezuela result, which was, well, okay, there were a lot of problems that needed ironing out. The Trinidad and Tobago game, good result, good overall performance, but still a couple problems. And then we come into this one, and very few problems. Just it feels like I look back at those two games, and it looked like we were just going to really struggle against Mexico. But tonight, very good overall performance. And that's the first time I could say that about the U.S. in a long time. I can't really think of a game, especially in recent times under Klinsmann and even since Arena's come in, where I've just watched and been like, yeah, that was a great performance from us. So, first of all, let's talk about Bruce Arena, because I did kind of make fun of him after the last game, called him a narcissist, said his decisions were poor. Um, to be honest, coming into this one, I still didn't really have my hopes up, and to be fair, some of his decisions did lead to their goal. However, looking at it overall, looking at the performance, the changes that he made, they were good changes for the most part. There were a couple that I'll talk about in a second. But, going to a back three, Klinsmann tried to do it. It did not work out at all. It didn't look like they knew what they were doing. So, obviously, he had them prepared. He came in and said, all right, this is what we're probably going to do against Mexico. Let's train for it. Let's prepare for it. And I think, if I remember right, in the Venezuela game, there was a moment where he went to a back three later on in the game. I feel like that was in preparation for this game. So we did see that. We saw that they were ready for this, and it worked out very well. First of all, the back three, I think it's a very good back three. You put Cameron in the middle. He's kind of your sweeper in those three, and then you've got Ream and Gonzalez on the other two. While Brooks has been playing rather poorly of late, so I don't mind seeing those two step in. Both of them did pretty well. You've got Bradley and Acosta in the middle, which was what I said I wanted after the Trinidad and Tobago game. I thought they make a pretty good partnership in the middle. You've got Pulisic, not really, I don't know, he wasn't really a wide player, but he wasn't necessarily number 10 either, so he looked a little bit out of sorts, a little bit out of position. So that was one of the few things that didn't really work out, but having Bobby Wood up top, while it didn't really reap any goals from it, it did provide us a bit of speed up there, so they had to be cautious of throwing a bunch of numbers forward, because if you do that, well, now you've got Bobby Wood, Ariola, and Christian Pulisic all ready to just capitalize on that, because they've all got speed. So, yeah, I think that front three is a good front three, even though they didn't necessarily create anything, or didn't get a goal out of it at least. There was still a threat there, and Mexico had to be wary of that threat, and wasn't able to just throw caution to the wind and throw everything forward, which is what they've done pretty much the past couple times I've seen us play them. So yeah, in my opinion, Bruce Arena got mostly everything right. However, there were a few problems. First of all, and this is getting more into individual performances, Brad Guzan over Tim Howard. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't hate Brad Guzan. I love Brad Guzan. He's coming to Atlanta. Go Atlanta, go Brad Guzan. I like him as a keeper. I do. He's a good keeper. However, Tim Howard is a great keeper. Good. Great. Why wasn't Howard playing? I really don't understand. I don't know. They said that they wanted to keep him out because there was that little injury that he picked up, and they weren't sure if he was. He looked fine in the last game, and honestly, the last two games, didn't he play against Venezuela? Pretty sure he did. He looked fine. I didn't see any hint of an injury. I didn't see any problems. I don't know. Unless there was something going on that we don't know about, I don't understand why Howard didn't start. And the goal kind of showed. The shot comes in. Guzan wasn't ready for it, didn't really work to get there. And it's kind of disappointing. You want your keeper to try, even if he can't get there. As long as he's trying to get there, it shows he has the desire to get out there. But nothing. Just kind of, oh crap, it's right there. I should have gotten there. Move your feet, get down to it. On top of that, nearly gifted them another goal in the second half. Free kick comes in. He's not ready for it. He's standing closer to the other side of the goal. Luckily, bounces off the underside of the crossbar and out instead of in. And we get away with it. And while I understand it's a great free kick, at the same time, you should still be getting something on it. Especially because it's on your side of the goal. You set your wall up to make sure that they're covering that side of the goal. And then you're not ready to get to that other side of the goal. And that's how Messi scored on him in the Copa America. He didn't trust his wall enough. He was on this side. Messi just dropped it in far post, and he wasn't there for it because he's too far on the other side of the goal. Same thing almost happened tonight. Got lucky with it bouncing away, but I don't know, just too many scary moments whenever he's in. Whereas with Howard, you don't really feel like that's going to happen. And I mean, Trinidad and Tobago is the perfect example. There's only one moment I can think of that I'm just like, holy crap, that was close. Every other part of the game, he was just solid. He was a good keeper, great keeper at times. He's a great keeper. I don't understand why Guzan got the start over him tonight. So if anybody knows why, if they explained why and I just didn't hear it, please let me know. Into the defense, Gonzalez, Cameron, and Ream. Obviously, of the three, Jeff Cameron had the best game. In my opinion, Cameron was our man of the match. I know they gave Bradley the man of the match, but that's just because he scored. I mean, Cameron really showed out tonight. There were so many moments where it looked dangerous for a second. They're cutting in from the wide areas, they're passing it around, and then all of a sudden, Cameron's there. Cameron's there. Cameron's there. Even that one moment where Cameron got a toe to it and nearly went through Guzan's legs, the only reason that happened was because Guzan didn't call it. But Cameron was there, and he was ready to flick it onto Guzan or flick it away from the goal because he was there. He was ready for it. And just watching him play, I can't imagine why he shouldn't be starting every single match. And quite possibly should be our captain from here on out, because still have some problems with Bradley as far as our captain goes. But yeah, tonight really showed out, really deserved to get out of here without conceding a goal. It's just unfortunate, that he ended up conceding one, but it wasn't really his fault. So, but I'm very happy to see that he is in top form right now. I'm really looking forward to seeing what more he can produce because he showed he had a lot of quality tonight. The other two were solid, but I don't know, they didn't really have those moments that Cameron had, those goal-saving moments that he was producing. And also, the other problem I had with them was they kind of caused a couple of counters on us tonight. And what I mean by that is we got several corners out of the game tonight. I think we had 8 overall. And quite a few of them were put in with great crosses. Pulisic put a couple good ones in. Areola put a couple good ones in. I think Acosta put one really good one in. And it's like they're there. They are there, but they're not really doing all they can to get the ball. It should be a ball on target or, it's the keeper making a save or something. That never happened from them tonight. They're either heading it off target wide of the goal or they're missing it completely and now all of a sudden Mexico are starting their counterattack. And there were just too many times where that happened. In fact, the goal came off of Gonzalez missed a header and then Ream tried to head it back in and then Wood missed his shot and then they counterattack on us and score. So, while obviously Wood was the most obvious miss out of those three, they still didn't really help because they're not producing as much as they can in the box. I don't know if that makes as much sense as I want it to, but I just feel like if you're a defender on a corner, you should be putting everything you can in to make sure you're getting your head on the ball, even if it's well high. As long as you're trying to get in there, that's all I can ask for. And I didn't see that enough from them tonight. They did get a couple headers, but they were always kind of like, oh, I'm just jumping up and heading it, instead of I'm going to attack that ball and put it in. Gonzalez's miss, where he kind of put his head at it but didn't really and just sort of skipped off his forehead and went wide. Best example I can think of that. The two wingbacks, Yedlin, okay. Still too many moments where he's in one-on-one situations. And tonight, whereas in Trinidad and Tobago, they actually forced the one-on-one situations because they actually moved the ball around and got it there. Tonight, it was more like the ball went out wide and he's not anywhere near the guy. And so now he's having to run out there. And at that point, the guy's already running in and you're in a no-win situation in that point. Either he flicks it past you and he's gone because you come charging in too quickly, or now you're having to try to close down as he's already running at you with speed. You're not winning in there. Unless you get lucky and happen to get a toe on it, you're not going to win in those situations. And he got caught tucking way too far in, especially considering he's supposed to be a wingback, not a fullback. You're not supposed to be that far inside, but he's still all the way inside. And they switch it to the far side of the field, and now he comes running out as this guy's ready to dribble at him. And every single time he's in a one-on-one situation, I get nervous because half the time he does block the cross, the other half of the time it's a good cross in and it's dangerous. Luckily, Cameron was aware of it tonight, but just way too many times where that's happening. Going forward in the attack, he did okay, but his passing still needs some work. Beasley, on the other hand, in my opinion, our worst player tonight. Just caused the goal, didn't produce anything on either side of the ball. Defensively, he wasn't. He did make a few tackles, but I don't know. He wasn't. He was probably our worst defender out of the five. Going forward in the attack, he didn't really produce anything. His touch wasn't great. His speed's not that great, especially acceleration-wise. There was that 21-year-old kid that was just speeding around him because he quickly accelerates, and Beasley's just like slowly getting up to pace. So I really don't know why he was in. I heard Villafania was off, wasn't even on the bench, and neither was Bedoya, so that's why those two weren't in. Johnson, in my opinion, didn't have a good game against Venezuela or against Trinidad, so I understand why he didn't play, but I don't know. Why weren't Villafania and Bedoya on the bench? Why not Zusi? I haven't seen Zusi recently, so I don't know if he's ready for it, but I know for sure Beasley isn't. He's, 35, I think? No. At that point, you're done. You're playing for Houston Dynamo, for crying out loud. I know they're top of their league, but we beat them 4-1. What up? Anyway, no, but I was really frustrated with that choice, and I was frustrated with his performance tonight. And like I said, gave up the goal. It was partly Guzan for not going after it, but it was mostly Beasley for, one, letting the guy inside, two, not putting in a challenge when he should have, and then three, letting the guy have a shot from the top of the 18. That's three mistakes in one play and it leads to a goal. That's not good enough. That's terrible. So, into the middle, Bradley and Acosta. First, going to talk about Acosta. Okay, not great. I think there's a lot more to come from him, but considering the fact that this is his first time really getting a chance in the team and really getting a chance, especially against a big team like Mexico, it was a good overall performance. I think my biggest problem with him is he's a little bit naive. So where you'd expect a player to come in, put pressure, and then as they lay off the ball to sort of track this man, he's very energetic, but that energy leads to, I'm chasing the ball, I'm chasing the ball, I'm chasing the ball, and he gets passed around a lot. On top of that, some of his challenges were not as strong as they could have been. I don't know if he's maybe a bit scared of going in and taking him out, or I don't know. It seemed like there were a couple times where he got beat by their strength, and as a central defensive midfielder, you should be a bit stronger in there. But it was okay, especially considering, like I said, it was one of his. I don't know how many caps he's made for the first team, but I mean, it's against Mexico. It's a big deal, and he did pretty well. So not too much to complain about. But Bradley, though, I have to take back some of what I've said about him in the past. Not everything, because there were still some problems tonight, but tonight he looked up for it. And this is the first time I can say that about him. Now, going forward, if he's not able to produce this type of performance at least every other game from now on, I'm going to go back to saying, okay, you're terrible again. But this is the best I've seen him play in a long time. I mean, that goal was brilliant. good reading of the play, good energy to get there, and then a brilliant chip from distance to get it over the keeper. The awareness to see that he's out and chip him, it was brilliant. His energy levels tonight were incredible. He's running all over the place. He's tracking them down. He was everywhere. He was really trying to win the ball back. He was really trying to put some pressure on. Now, kind of like Acosta, there were several moments where that did lead to, okay, I'm chasing the ball instead of trying to close it down and force him one way. And so that did lead to a couple of times where he got beat. But, I mean, it's Bradley running for the first time in forever that I can think of. And running constantly, not just I'm making one run and then I'm done for the next 20 minutes. He was so energetic tonight. I guess just being in Mexico, he really wanted to play. He wanted to get out there and prove himself. But really, really good performance from him tonight. And hopefully he can take that energy and get better from there. But, God, if he could put on a performance like that every night, I would never complain about him again. I would never criticize him again. I'd just be like, he's good. Keep him out there. So while I'm a bit upset that does mean that he's probably going to stay in the team for a little while longer, especially if this was just like a one-and-done thing for him, it was a really good performance and nearly won us the game with that second strike in the second half. Like right after they hit the crossbar, he hits the post. I'm just like, whew, he's that close. But I guess the one problem that I still have though is passing still needs work. Just too many moments where you can see that it's like he sees what he wants to do, but he doesn't have the ability to do it. So he wants to play quick 1-2, but he puts too much power on it, and so now it's past the guy. Or he sees that long diagonal and he wants to try it, but it's under hit, and now the defender's winning it. So it's like he has the vision to do it, and we know he has the vision because he's been doing it for years. But his ability to do it has gone away, and that's been one of the biggest frustrations for me is knowing that he's supposed to be our distributor in the midfield, and he's not good at distributing. There's a problem there. And then on top of that, his defensive side of his game has not been great up until this match. So, yeah, that part of his game improved. Great goal to top it off. So I will say he was very good tonight. I still think Cameron deserves man of the match for me, but credit where credit's due. As far as our front three goes, it's hard to really judge them and criticize them because you have to be aware that we were very defensive tonight. I mean, we were very focused on we're going to counter. We're going to sit back, we're just going to take the pressure, and then we're going to hit them on the counter. So with that in mind, you really have to look at the fact that, yeah, they didn't get a lot of chances tonight. How many times did they end up on the ball? Not as much as they probably wanted to. Part of that, I do think, especially for Christian, I think if he were in the middle, he does a lot better whenever he gets to drop in and sort of work the play from there, like a true number 10, drop into the middle and start the attack. But because that's not the style of game we were playing, like I said, more counterattacking instead of building up possession and trying to score from that, it was much more focused on up top. Now, with that being said, I do think that we would have benefited maybe from not starting Christian and maybe going Nagby and Areola, just because, while obviously he's a great player, I don't think that's his type of game. I don't think he's a counterattacking player. I mean, Dortmund, that's not the style that they play. I don't remember what type of style they play, but it's not counterattacking. So, that's not really his game, and you could see that tonight. There were several moments where he's alone, and while he can beat one player, they're putting 2 or 3 on him, and he's got no help because the only other person out there is Wood, and he's marked by 2 defenders. So he's not really able to do that on his own. Areola, while full of energy, he's not a dribbler either. He's more of just a runner. And so you put him into space, and he can run, and it worked a couple times, but there were too many times where the ball ended up at his feet, and he wasn't able to produce anything with it. And as far as Wood goes, also a counterattacking player like Areola with his speed, but there were too many times where we were trying to find his feet instead of trying to go over the top. So I think we were set up to play counterattacking, but didn't really play very good counterattacking. it's just there are too many times where we're finding the defenders because we're not trying to go over the top instead, and so that did hurt our front three. But as far as the moments that they did have, like I said, Ariola, full of energy, needs to work on his passing a bit more. You know, he's not the best at passing. Kind of, pretty much like every other person we have up there aside from Christian. All of our attacking players aren't that great with their feet. You know, Altidore is pretty good on the pass, but that's about it. Um, but yeah, there were several moments where it ended up at his feet, and he finds himself in good positions, but not able to really do much with it. So good energy from him. Hopefully he can grow. He is, I think they say he's only 22, so he's got a lot of time to get better. But for now, you know, I like the energy that he brought to the field. And then Christian, obviously, like I said, they put two or three guys on him at all time because they knew if you leave him one on one, if you leave him with time and space, he's going to hurt you. And so they came in prepared to shut him down, and they did that for the most part. You know, it was probably one of his quietest games that he's had in a while, and I credit that more to Mexico's defense than his performance because he did give it his all, and there were a couple times when he managed to break through, but just couldn't find that final pass. You know, that one in particular that I'm thinking of. I remember watching the replay, and you see him get past the defense and cut it back, and there's Wood like right there, like ball's here. It's coming this way, and Wood's right there, but the defender manages to pass it behind before it gets to him. And I'm just thinking, if that defender weren't there, it would have been a goal. So yeah, he gave it as much as he could, but Mexico did as much as they could to make sure he was shut out of the game. And then Wood, you know, he worked hard for the most part, but I don't think he's physical enough to be a lone striker unless you're going to counterattack and play over the top, and we didn't do that enough. So it's almost, think about like Torres when he was at Liverpool, then Torres when he went to Chelsea. You know, Liverpool, they like to counterattack a lot, and so he flourished there. And even Atletico, he likes to they like to counterattack, and so he flourishes there. Or he's playing up top with Griezmann, which helps him out. And so he goes to Chelsea, and he's a lone striker. That's not his game, and so he didn't do well at Chelsea. Same type of thing with Wood. He's not a lone striker, so if you try to play a ball into him, he's probably not going to win it because the defenders are going to step in and they're bigger and they're going to beat him to it. But if you go over the top, or if you try to play a quick 1-2 with him, it would work out a bit better. So that's about it for the starting lineup. The subs that came in, first one that came on was wasn't Altidore, wasn't Zusi, Nagby. Nagby came on for Ariola. At that point, he was on a yellow, so it made sense to bring him off. Nagby provides a bit more defensive cover, I think, just because, you know, like I said in the Trinidad game, he did very well tracking back and helping out Yedlin defensively. So brought him on for a bit more defensive cover. I don't mind it. He didn't really do much to catch the eye. Going forward, mainly, you know, defensively, he did well tracking back, getting in good positions to help out Yedlin. So good sub there. Altidore coming on for Wood, just, you know, switching strikers, trying something different up top. Didn't end up producing anything. You know, I don't know, he's still showing that he doesn't quite have the quality to be our main striker. You know, I still think it's a toss-up between him and Wood at the moment. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed that he didn't come on and change the game or do something that really cemented that, yeah, he's definitely the best striker we have. So I was a little disappointed there, but also kind of expected. And then Zusi came on like last few minutes just sort of as a time-wasting sub and, you know, a little bit more defensive than Pulisic is. So, but overall, you know, like I said, it was a good performance, and getting a draw at Mexico is good. You know, it is a good result, especially considering that we already got the win against Trinidad, which put us back into the running for advancing from the group stage. And we've got 4 games left now to cement our place in the World Cup. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what else is going to come from us. I'm pretty sure we have the Gold Cup this summer. So even though we're not going to the Confederations Cup, which is still annoying, I think we do have some games to sort of get our team figure out kind of who the best players that we have are. And on top of that, it's a chance for some players to show the quality that they have. Like I said, Bradley tonight showed the quality that he has. We just haven't seen it from him. He hasn't been that player. He hasn't put forth the effort that he has tonight in most of the games that he played in. So I'm hoping that from here we get to see that from him. We get to see he does have that quality. He just hasn't shown us in a long, long time. So I'm hoping that we can grow from here as a team, get better, maybe possibly win the Gold Cup. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got coming for us. I'm looking forward to seeing, on top of that, what players are going to start to break through. We've seen Nagby recently has broken through. Villafania is another one that's starting to step up a little bit. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Last thing I do want to talk about, though, I should have talked about this at the beginning before I got into the team, but it slipped my mind because I was too happy with the draw. The refs tonight were terrible. And, yeah, I thought MLS refs were like the worst refs on the planet, but then this center ref was just like, oh, hang on, I need to put in my bid for a second. The ARs were actually fine. The AR that was on our side of the field in the second half, he was actually really good. There were several moments where he made a no call or he called offsides well. There was a moment like late on in the game where Beasley goes in for a crunching tackle, gets the ball, and then the AR's like, it's a throw in, and the ref blows the whistle thinking that he's calling a foul. And I'm just like, what? And then Beasley gets up and was like, what? Talking to the AR, and the AR's just like, no, it's a throw. And Beasley's just like, see, he knows. So the AR was actually pretty good, but the center ref just, my God. First of all, 2 possible sending off in the first few minutes. One on Beasley, maybe not. Maybe it's just a yellow because, elbow contact to the head. Dangerous play. It was raised pretty high. So that one, probably not a sending off. He's not really looking at him. He's going for the ball. His arm's up high, but he catches him elbow to the head. That should be something. And he did call the foul, but nothing for it. But then the one on Wood was just, as deliberate as you can get. Like, it's a swinging motion towards his head. And the worst part about it is, obviously, a lot of people look at that and say that's possibly a red card. The worst part about it is not even a foul. He didn't call a thing. And what makes this all the more frustrating is how many times they flopped and got a foul. How many times that challenge comes in, one of our players puts pressure, and then, oh, bam! It's a Mexico free kick. It was ridiculous. It was like every single time they hit the floor. It didn't matter how much contact there was, unless it was in the box. If it were in the middle of the field or anywhere else outside the box, it's a foul. It's a free kick for Mexico. Every single time. Ridiculous. This ref was awful. And I think one of the more frustrating parts about this that I think even Mexico fans can probably agree with, Yedlin gets a card for persistent infringement. He fouled, it's a loose term, but he fouled a guy like 3 or 4, 5 times, I don't know. Like, the ref kept calling every single time he'd go to put in a challenge, and then the guy would, like, fall over. Every single time that happened, it's a foul. And so finally the ref cards him for persistent fouling. Well, I'm watching as Salcedo is going in, 2-handed shove in the back. I'm pretty sure he was both of those elbows in the first. I may be wrong about that. I know for sure he was the elbow on Bobby Wood. But in the second half, I'm watching as he's shoving him to the ground. He comes in, kicks him from behind. There was one in particular that was on Christian and just completely cleaned him out. Nothing. No cards for Mexico. At all. And we got 2. One was deserved because Areola, yeah, that was a pretty bad foul. But Yedlin got one for nothing. Just like, what is this ref watching? So, yeah, just kind of a little side bit. I probably should have started off with that at the beginning of the review, just, so it doesn't end on that note. But as far as our performance goes, we were good. I'm happy with it. Surprisingly, I'm happy with people that I never thought I'd be happy with in Arena and Bradley. So, yeah, that's about it for me. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts in this game? What are your thoughts going into the Gold Cup this summer? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future USA reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace out.